Hey pals, it's Lisa here from Mindful Tarot, and I'm coming back with another video today. I wanted to share an acquisition from July, a very unique and quite just delicious tarot deck, the Tarot of Musterberg. Now, the Tarot of Musterberg is put out by a company called Curio and Company. I don't know a whole lot about them other than what I've been able to discover hither and thither online. They're in Vienna, and their whole shtick is like faux memorabilia. So they have made up this Italian comic book from the 1980s called Roger Believe, and they have like editions of Roger Believe. And Roger Believe apparently references this tarot deck, the Tarot of Musterberg. And so then they have this tarot deck, the Tarot of Musterberg, and the shtick with the Tarot of Musterberg is, and I'm just reading from the website, that it comes from the Pennyland Amusement Park. It goes back to the 1700s. Created sometime in the early 1700s, the design became popular for its unique inclusion of a 79th card. The Musterberg deck is the only one to have a siren card as the highest major arcana or trump card. But most importantly, the deck was redone for the Pennyland Amusement Park in the early 20th century, where it was the exclusive deck of the Great Beyond for Pennyland prognosticators in the fortune teller tent. And this is the same deck referenced in the Italian comic book series, Roger Believe. So, it's like how extraordinary, a sort of made-up historical deck. The quality of this deck is just, kind of second to none. So first of all, the little white book is the Cartomancy Guide, and it has both the Pennyland Handbook of Cartomancy. Congratulations and welcome to the team at the Fortune Teller Tent here at Pennyland. We are a fun-loving and easygoing group, despite what the folks at the Tunnel of Love may say. And you're sure to like it here. In addition to the standard rules for employment elsewhere in the park, so this is your Cartomancy Guide if you're going to be working in the Fortune Teller Tent, the Fortune Teller Tent has a few more guidelines to follow. Be on time. The Great Beyond may work in mysterious ways, but our scheduling does not. Start on time and finish your readings to coincide with the shift change so you don't keep the next prognosticator waiting. Keep the tent tidy. Rule number 2. Respect your fellow fortune tellers. Rules number 3. Keep busy. Don't let passerby see you listless or bored. You may practice dealing spreads in between readings, but do not use the cards to play poker with other prognosticators while in the tent. The handbook will tell you everything you need to know to conduct a reading. And so then it goes through the information about spreads and information about the cards, which is, it's relatively straightforward. And I'll flip through the cards, but here's the Fool. And notice, so the first edition has their stamp. It's a literal stamp, Curio and Company on the Fool card. They're about to print the second edition, will be available. And what they say is that the second edition will have the Curio and Co. Stamp on the Siren card, so you can tell the difference. But, so for instance, the Fool is the card of carefree optimism and childlike dreams, but it is also the card of stupidity and foolishness. So be careful how you read this one. No one likes to pay to have someone call them a fool. So the whole little white book includes, it includes meanings, but it carries on this this mythos of Pennyland Amusement Park. And there's just something like the I don't know, I've been a big Philip K. Dick fan, the science fiction writer, for a very long time. Philip K. Dick was obsessed with this notion of the authentic fake, like, what it means to sort of fake history, and to what extent do we know that things are real, like, because you can always fake the past. So if you think about, The Man in the High Castle, you may know the TV series or the original Philip K. Dick, or if you think about Blade Runner, which is based on another Philip K. Dick story, Minority Report. There's all Philip K. Dick stuff, his short stories, his novels. just all like carry out this question of, what does it mean to, what is reality, since it's all created by our perceptions. And so we can kind of reconstruct a past. And for Philip K. Dick, this is a deep existential question. The Curio and Company folks, it's so playful and so delightful. Like, what does it mean to create a modern historical deck? Then the other thing that's so fabulous about this little white book is that when you flip it around and upside down, it has game rules for playing tarot. Actually they're accurate. So if you ever want to play tarot, you can find some really good YouTube videos and information online to how to play the game of tarot, but the little white book here will also tell you. Okay, so Curie & Co.'s Tarot of Musterberg. So first of all, I want you to see how thick and chunky this deck is. The cards, what can I compare? They're very heavy-duty cardstock. They've got that slight silky finish of nice cardboard. They're not like the Wild Unknown. They're probably about as thick as the first edition of the Wild Unknown, but they're not slick in that way. They feel more papery. They're very nice. I would not want to try to riffle shuffle them. They feel antique. So let's just go through them. I love the palette. I don't think these look like wood. It's hard to say what they don't really look like 18th century woodcuts. It's like they sort of have that flavor. It's sort of their own fanciful historical deck. And the imagery is familiar. I love their version of strength. The imagery is familiar, but it's not totally faithful. So, this death as kind of Chiron, on the River of Styx, is not a familiar image. And then the hanged man with birds resting on his feet and on the crossbar. The devil, what's he got there? Carrying some vessel with a face on it. The tower. I really it's kind of that is a lot of water she's pouring out. It's tongue in cheek, and it also feels completely faithful. This Judgment card is kind of wonderful. The skeletons. And then the world. With her scroll. And here's the siren. So the pips don't follow a Marseille style ordering of the elements So, I have not tried. I mean, I've flipped through the deck, and I have not tried to play with it. So I don't know, this is one of those things where even if you're used to reading a Marseille style deck, these cards are going to ask you to do something else. I love that Knave of Swords, actually. Knight. Ooh. Wow, look at that queen balancing the sword on her hand. That seems quite right to me. The discs are just gorgeous, I think. So, Novitas, Sinceritas, Ludus. So, game or play, sincerity, and novelty or newness, which seems like a good, an accurate motto for Curio and Company. Yeah, this is my palette. I didn't plan my shirt today, but I just, as I was saying in my my little video about the Vandenborre, I'm kind of crazy for these olives and oranges, and it's a palette that I love. So I'm going to go through these relatively quickly, but I wanted to give some time. It's, others have said that they actually read well with this deck. It's not just a novelty deck. I think you would really need to have a strong sense of how you work with the pips, because I don't fully trust well, I don't know. I was going to say I don't fully trust the ways in which the pips are laid out. It's not it's not faithful to Marseille. It's its own kind of geometry. But there is some real clarity of purpose here. So, like, I think about this Knight of Wands, and there's something really smart about the fierceness of his horse and the way in which he's charging. He's pointing in one direction, but the horse, this sort of energy that's like so kind of compressed and powered into action. But then, here's the thing about wands is, in order for that action to be productive and not just kind of reactive, that's one of the, I think, the dilemmas of the suit is how do you take the energy that gets invigorated by the world and by your own creativity and by your sense of will, and how do you move forward? So, cards like this make me think, or like that Queen of Swords balancing the sword on her hand. Cards like the Knight of Wands make me think that this deck is not just a novelty deck. It's beautiful. It's a work of art. And I wonder, Yuko Shaparo, is that the artist? I don't know. So the Tarot of Musterberg, if you live in the States, it's not cheap because of shipping. So actually, Eclectic Tarot Forum member named a question mark, who just lives in Seattle, she purchased this deck, and I was able to piggyback on her. Where's my Knight of... Huh. That is interesting. Okay. I didn't notice that before. I think that this is the Knight of Cups. Okay. Well, is that right? No, of course not. That's why I didn't notice it before, because here's the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Chalices. Again, I mean, I like that the horses in this deck has more personality. Okay. So that's the Knight. That's the King. Knave. And Queen. The Musterberg Tarot. Just one of those lovely things. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.